So for our last candidate for the vice president position, we have Ash Zeitler.
Can you hear me without the mic, or do you need the mic? You're good? Everybody in the back, can you hear me without the mic? So, hi, I'm Ash Zeitler. My pronouns are they, them. I'm a senior design technology major, minoring in theater and performance and arts management. I'm just going to really quickly brief you on what I've done because, as was mentioned before, I've kind of indoctrinated into PSGA. I've worked here for a long time. This is my 6th year. I'm a non-traditional student. I've been PR of LGBTQU, treasurer of LGBTQU, club liaison for 4th, senator for School of the Arts, president of LGBTQU, weekend assistant at the student, office assistant at the PSGA. I'm in my 2nd year as office manager. I've also been an independent contractor for tech services. So basically, my concern with the position of vice president is that there's a couple main categories that you have to look over. So there's the office, which I know very well because I'm the office manager. I understand the problems facing it. There's the services. You're paying an MSAFT of $110, and Broken Spokes, Gutter, and Phoenix didn't really operate last year. When I was campaigning, when I was getting signatures, most people didn't know what the services were on campus, and that's really disheartening, especially because we're paying for them and you're paying people to run them. Another issue I have is HR. Thanks to Monica, we now have an NDA policy. I'd really like it for the office assistants and anyone handling social security numbers, which is a lot of programming, to have to sign one, because that's sensitive information that, God forbid, something could happen with. Sorry, I'm just a little nervous. That's a lot to go up after.
30 seconds.
Also, the student has a safer space policy, but the entire student government doesn't. Going through my checklist, archival committee, we have records from 2000. We're an 18-year-old organization, and they're just floating in the club rooms in the office. If we could scan them, put them up on a cloud, we could retain scholarships, funds, donations that we used to receive. We could stay in contact with our state senators. We could understand our history a little better and not repeat our mistakes.
That's it. You have 5 minutes to take questions from the body.
Yes.
I loved it. Everything you said was great.
Thank you.
I just wanted to let you know. So, if you become VP, will you still stay on as office manager?
By the way, I'm a Scorpio. No. So what the VP would be and take the chair of Senate. Oh, hi Teresa, chair of Senate's position, as being the head of the office manager, kind of like how D is the head of tech services and the student coordinator. So I would vacate the position of office manager.
Okay.
How do you feel like the role of office manager will help you in this VP race, whatever you want to call it?
Usually last year I had a staff of 5 people I was managing, and a lot of things that come into the office are questions about services, their hours, who to get in contact with about that, how people can look at the bylaws, how people can understand the bylaws, checking out Robert's Rules of Order books. A lot of questions about the PSGA as a whole, and I think that my knowledge and me realizing how students, club members, service members interact with one another, and kind of the weak links in those chains will really help me strengthen that.
So how do you believe interpersonal conflict should be handled in the workplace?
Well, right now, I know that we have a system of submitting at least one formal warning, and I think that it's really good if something is serious to get it in writing, so that, like if we had a disagreement that was serious enough that you felt uncomfortable or I felt uncomfortable, I think having something on paper or on file that we could go back to be like, well, this was a problem, and we acknowledge it, it's on a record, and we're not going to do it again. But I do think that having respect for other humans and treating them kindly, being reliable and being honest are the biggest, most important things.
So this position will allow for a focus on legislation. Are there any bylaws or constitutional regulations you disagree with, and what would you do differently?
Right now, I'm the most familiar with the office bylaws. It says that we have during the 10th week of classes, all of the OAs have to sit through formal review so that we can review their behavior. That's during midterms. I don't want to do that to anyone. Also, it's just like weird rules about executive board minutes that I don't think apply anymore. I think my biggest complaint with the bylaws is that there hasn't been a lot of revision lately to go through them and say what's defunct, what do we not follow, and there's a reason we don't follow it, how can we change it? Also, Live at the Stud is in, I believe, the tech services bylaw. I could be incorrect about that, it might be under COPA, but it says that PTV would work to go to the Stud on weekends and record shows that we have the rights to, and then show them on PTV. And PTV functions as a great service, but they're not really interconnected with the entirety of the PSGA, and I'd like to change that.
Are there any more questions from the body? Going once.
Speaking on that point of like interpersonal conflict and just the whole idea of professionalism and working with like people, like obviously everyone's personality isn't going to connect in any way, shape, or form, but just how do you feel about how would you go about diffusing a situation where you have someone who does have like an interpersonal conflict with you that they don't talk about?
With me personally?
Yeah, or the royal you.
Oh, okay. Well, I think that one of the most important things might be talking about it. I might be sitting down, having a meeting with our PSGA advisor, Anthony Ware there, and kind of getting to the bottom of it and understanding, like, is it a professional aspect that can be changed, or is it a personal disagreement that you cannot allow to affect your professional life? And I know that's difficult because we all are students. Most of us live here, most of us interact outside of the student government, but I think that when you're in a position where you're serving the students, you kind of need to separate that, and work has to come first sometimes. And I think, like, if I had a specific situation, there would be ways to, like, work around it. Like, perhaps someone doesn't have to sit on the same board if they don't get along, or the same committee. Yeah.
9 seconds left. 4, 3, 2. I don't think anyone's gonna ask a question. All right.